held on the 14th December 2022.
Honorable Sri Ayodhya Rami Reddy.
Deputy Chairman, sir, for giving me the opportunity to speak on the Maritime Anti-Piracy Bill 2022. Sir, a little background to this bill. Since the Indian authorities under IPC are allowed to take action only till 12 nautical miles from the coast, piracy actions committed outside the territorial waters do not fall under the jurisdiction of Indian courts. Therefore, this bill is essential to prosecute people that commit acts of piracy within the maritime region of the country beyond the EEZ, which is 200 nautical miles beyond the Indian territorial waters. The bill will help us protect our vessels, its crew members, and Indian trade. With the growing influence of India in the world, it has never been more important to have a bill like this. The positive points of this bill are piracy attacks that are going all over the world have been a problem. In 2021, there were 132 pirate attacks. The number was even higher at 195 in 2020 globally. 2018-19, India has stopped 44 piracy attempts and apprehended 120 pirates alone. We have a vast coastline that stretches about 7,500 kilometers. Our country has lacked a legislation to address maritime security concerns. Since the country lacked a domestic legislation, piracy acts outside of the Indian waters by foreigners had no jurisdiction of Indian courts. Hence, this bill will help us address the issue that have been neglected in the past. India's growing need for maritime security. Sir, the maritime trade occupies a large part of Indian economy, with 95% of India's exports are being shipped. The committee to which this bill was referred noted that there had been a significant growth in piracy incidents since 2008. While we have lagged behind in protecting our maritime region, recent developments such as the appointment of National Maritime Security Coordinator is a significant progress. India has also set up its first Maritime Theatre Command for better planning and military response, with the aim to have a unified approach to fight any future wars. With the expanding maritime role of India and its growing influence, this bill will ensure India has an effective maritime security strategy. So, few of our suggestions. The maritime borders in India still remain less guarded compared to land borders. All border forces have a clear mandate of serving for land border security of the country. Whereas the Indian Coastal Guards, their primary duty is not to serve state coastal boards, but to serve through the stretch of territorial waters to EEZ. About 95% of India's trade by volume and 75% by value is done through maritime transport. Many offshore energy assets and key world trading ports are also located along the coast of India. We must extend security in a manner that protects the Indian coast from all vulnerabilities and makes state coastal police more effective. Therefore, I urge the government to focus more on coastal security to protect our vast coastline and prioritize them equally as land borders. One border, one force. The group of ministers set up in 2000 was tasked to review the national security system in India. It had recommended to enforce accountability and cooperation by adopting the principles of one border, one force for maritime security. Currently, the Navy is in charge of overall maritime security. The coastal guards are responsible for overall coordination between the state and the central agencies for coastal border security. It has jurisdictions over the territorial borders, contiguous zone and EEZ. State coastal police has jurisdiction only over Indian territorial waters. But both the Navy and Coastal Guards are under purview of Defense Ministry and not Home Ministry, the ministry that is responsible for border management. This is entirely has caused a problem of overlapping jurisdiction between the three authorities and a lack of unity and coordination. I suggest the government to ensure better maritime security by combining these forces under one ministry for effective coordination between them. Sir, the coastal security scheme in India was implemented as a joint effort by Indian Navy, India Coastal Guard and the state coastal police of states. In the maritime domain, assigning responsibility for patrolling and surveillance of coastal areas has been assigned to the states. Coastal states have large fishermen populations that venture out into the sea to make their daily living, and hence the implementation of coastal security scheme effectively would also safeguard their interests and livelihood as well. Therefore, I request the government to extend more financial support to states under this scheme to ensure better coastal security measures. I believe that maritime security is intrinsic to our country's security and geopolitical influence within the world order. I urge the government to consider these suggestions and implement a well-formulated maritime security strategy that helps strengthen the geopolitical situation of India. Therefore, with these suggestions, I support the bill. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Dr. M. Thambidurai.